Texas softball had a heartbreaking series loss versus Red River rival and softball powerhouse Oklahoma. Texas baseball had two heartbreaking losses against the Aggies down in College Station and didn't even get a chance to redeem themselves as an 8.5-hour rain delay was enough to cancel Game 3 of the series. Rory McIlroy became the fourth person to win back-to-back Masters championships. All that and more coming up on College Press Box. Good evening and welcome back to College Press Box. I'm Brynlie Dean, hosting with Allie Hawk tonight. Before we get started, we want to remind you that College Press Box is brought to you by CAP Metro, Austin's transit system. We connect you to work, school, play, and everywhere in between. Plan your ride to this weekend's game at capmetro.org. Texas Longhorn baseball took their first series loss this weekend against the Aggies down in the absolutely hostile environment of College Station, Texas. Let's send it over to Allie, who's with our very own Gabriel Silva, to talk more about Texas baseball. Allie.
Thanks, Brynlie. Texas baseball struggled in College Station this weekend, losing their highly anticipated matchup against a tough Texas A&M team. Inclement weather forced the final game on Sunday to be canceled, sealing the series sweep for the Aggies. I'm here with Gabriel Silva, who traveled to College Station for this matchup to break down what went wrong for the Longhorns this weekend and what this loss means moving forward. Great to have you with us, Gabriel. How are you doing?
Well, I somehow survived a weekend that did look promising to start, but I would definitely like to forget it after what happened on Sunday night.
I'd have to agree with you there. So how did the weekend series go?
Well, in Coach Jim Schlossnagel's highly anticipated return to College Station since his departure after the 2024 College World Series, Aggie fans were waiting since Wednesday night to secure a seat of the opening game of the highly anticipated series. To say the series was going to be emotional would be an understatement. With loud boos raining down and some not-so-friendly chants underway, we got the series started Friday night, with both teams starting off slow, with some key moments here and there until the third inning when Texas broke the ice, but A&M was able to quickly respond with 2 runs of their own in the bottom of the same inning. The Aggies and the Longhorns would trade blows the rest of the game, but the turning point was the 6th inning where Texas A&M would score 3 runs while not even mustering up a single hit. They only worked walks and that allowed multiple runs to score. The Longhorns couldn't match that, and the Aggies extended their lead to 3 heading into the 9th inning. Texas was able to get some runs back thanks to back-to-back home runs from Aiden Robbins and Anthony Pack Jr., but it just wasn't enough as the Aggies were able to squeak away with the win on Friday night. These two teams had now played in 4 straight one-run games dating back to the 3 games in Austin last year. Saturday's game, although, was the exact opposite of what the previous games were like. Both teams scored to start the game, but immediately after starting at 2 p.m., rain came in and caused a 1 hour and 40-minute rain delay. Texas starter Luke Harris was tasked with limiting the damage after sitting around for so long, and he wasn't able to do it in what I believe ended up being his shortest start of his career, only going 2/3 of an inning. And the Aggies were up 8-1 after a very long first inning. Texas A&M didn't look back since then and ended up winning Saturday's game 11-1 in one that the Longhorns would want to wash away the next day. Unfortunately for Texas, they wouldn't get a chance to salvage the series in Game 3 as there was a lengthy lightning and rain delay on Sunday, and the game ended up being officially canceled 8.5 hours after the originally scheduled 1 p.m. first pitch. That allowed Texas A&M to be able to walk out with a de facto series sweep in Coach Schloss's return.
Yeah, and that early momentum swing after the rain delay really seemed to hurt Texas. What exactly went wrong for the Longhorns?
Well, it was a tale of 2 different games for Texas this weekend. On Friday, Ruger Riojas went 5 innings, gave up 5 runs, but the bullpen came in and walked in a lot of runs that were easily avoidable if they just threw strikes. The offense scored 8 runs and out-hit the Aggies as well. In almost any other game, you would have think that Texas would have won that game, but they did not. In Game 2, it was starting pitching that killed the Longhorns, with Luke Harrison struggling to get out of the first inning, and the explosive offense we saw from Game 1 was only able to muster up 4 runs in the second game, and 3 of those runs were solo home runs as Texas was not able to string together many hits to try and rally back from the 7-run deficit. It would have been interesting to see how Sunday's game would have gone down, as arguably Texas's best pitcher, Dylan Volantis, would have been on the mound. Texas's best bullpen arms in Sam Cozart and Thomas Burns weren't even used this weekend, and A&M had a bullpen day lined up. If Texas was able to put everything together, they might have taken Sunday's game, but we'll just never know.
For sure. Between the struggles in the bullpen and not being able to get anything going on offense, it was a rough series overall for Texas. So, how exactly can they bounce back from this?
Well, in the SEC, things never get easier. This week, Texas will take on Texas A&M Corpus Christi Tuesday night, and they will have to play another top-ranked opponent in number 11 Alabama this weekend here at the Dish. Texas will hopefully have a complete weekend of games to rebound against the Crimson Tide, and they will need to be rolling on all cylinders through the rest of the season, with weekend series against Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, and Tennessee all still on the horizon before postseason play starts in May. This team still needs to play some complete baseball, but once they do, I can see them having a successful end of the season.
Well, we certainly look forward to seeing how the Longhorns can recover in their upcoming games. Thanks for joining us, Gabriel, and back to you at the desk, Brynlie.
Solid work, Allie and Gabriel. When College Press Box returns, we'll take a look at the unfortunate series loss that Texas softball suffered against the Oklahoma Sooners over the weekend. Stay tuned, you don't want to miss it.
Welcome back to College Press Box. This past weekend, Texas softball hosted their rivals, the Oklahoma Sooners. After dropping the first two games, the Longhorns answered with a dramatic walk-off win to close the series. Let's check it out with Brynlie, who is with our next analyst.
Thanks, Allie. I'm here with Giorgy Ruiz to talk about a devastating weekend for Texas softball. Welcome to the show, Giorgy. How are you doing tonight?
Fantastic. Missing basketball a little bit, but that doesn't mean there isn't some fun watching the Diamond, especially the defending national champions. A little rocky, but still a good time.
Yes, it is. Much to cover here in the Red River Rivalry series, so let's get right into it. OU dominated the first two games, and it felt like they had all the momentum late in the final game. What stood out to you the most in that finale?
Yeah, and like you said, I really do feel like Oklahoma had control late, especially after they took that 6-5 lead in the 8th. But I want to rewind it to the first two games. Oklahoma really maintained control of the series. Their defense was shutting down opportunities, and especially their pitcher, Audrey Lowry, the left-handed sophomore, threw a complete game shutout in just game one, holding Texas to just 6 hits and handing them their first shutout loss of the season. And even when the Texas offense showed life, Oklahoma found ways to respond, whether that was timely defense or on big hits like Kendall Wells and the 3-run home run in game 2. So while Sunday's games showed Texas resilience, those first two games really highlighted how Oklahoma controlled the series from the start. But what stood out in Texas' response in game 3 led with Caden Henry's 3-run home run in the second. And even when Oklahoma kept chipping away, they never looked out of it. And then you have Hannah Wells coming in as a pinch hitter and hitting her 7th home run of the game. And right after that, Katie Stewart, who had a homered earlier, steps up and delivers a walk-off 2-run shot, and she finishes 3-4 with 3 RBIs and now 22 home runs, for the season. So even with the momentum shifting, Texas found a way to respond and close it out and keep Oklahoma from that sweep.
Well, credit to OU for those first two despite not completing the sweep. But more on them. Oklahoma was ranked second while Texas entered the series with a number 4 ranking. What does this series tell you about where these teams are right now?
Yeah, I think this series tells you a lot about our identities both teams right now. For Oklahoma, it's control and execution, and you've seen that in how they performed all season. They are now 39-3 overall with 12-1 in SEC play, and with this series win, they've created a 3-game gap in standings over Texas. That consistency is what stands out. They don't beat themselves, and they capitalize in key moments without having to play from behind. And for Texas, it shows both their potential and where they still need to grow. They are 33-6 overall, 11-5 in SEC play, and 13-5 against ranked opponents. So this is still one of the top teams in the country. So even though they had some opportunities that were left on the field, and against a team like Oklahoma, those small moments really do make a difference. So this series shows Oklahoma as a team that's very well composed and consistent, now separating themselves in the conference, while Texas is still right there talent-wise, but still working to putting together complete games as they head closer to the postseason.
Final thought here. If these two teams see each other again in the postseason, what could be the difference?
No, for sure. And more than likely, you're going to see this matchup. And that's what makes this matchup, that's what's going to make this future matchup so interesting, because if they meet again, it's definitely going to come down to the small details. Oklahoma showed they can control a series with clean execution, and so they're not just winning, they're consistently handling top competition, but on the other side, Texas also has ranked opponents, so they've been tested all season, and I think some of the difference can come down to timely hitting and on those who capitalize in those key moments, and we saw some from Texas, but also from Oklahoma. So while OU took advantage when they needed to, Texas showed that switch, and especially when it comes down to the postseason with the defending national championships like Texas Texas going up against other teams like Texas Tech. They're going to be definitely a showing, and they go against UCLA next. So we're definitely going to see how they roll off of that momentum, especially with that walk-off win by Katie Stewart, and seeing what she can do in the rest.
Yes, they are, and we will be following them closely as that time approaches. Well, that'll do it from here. Great analysis, and thanks for coming on the show, Giorgy. Now back to you at the desk, Allie.
Thank you, Brynlie and Giorgy. When College Press Box returns, we will be talking the Masters. Stay with us.
Welcome back to College Press Box. The Masters, one of the most iconic stops of the PGA Tour, took place this last week. Here to break down this year's Masters tournament is our very own Nolan Clay. Nolan.
Thanks, Brynlie. The best week of the golf season officially came to a close on Sunday, and another page of the history book was written when Rory McIlroy won his second straight green jacket, becoming only the fourth player to do so. And I think it's such an interesting storyline because last year, Rory conquered his demons at Augusta National, winning his first Masters tournament and becoming the sixth player in history to complete the career Grand Slam. I, along with millions of other fans around the world, were curious how Rory would respond to his triumph 365 days ago. Would he be totally freed up, or would his mental demons still show their face on the sacred grounds of Augusta? And the truth is, even with the win, I'm not sure we got a clear answer here. Rory has been known for his extremely slow starts at the Masters over the years, and often coming up short after weekend charges. It was almost like he put too much pressure on himself every time he made the drive up to Magnolia Lane. But this week was different. Before the tournament and during the first two rounds, instead of pressing, Rory looked like he was having fun. It was a complete shift from the Rory we've seen on Thursday and Friday over the past decade at the Masters. And up by 6 going into the weekend, it just seemed like nobody would come close to catching him. However, as we saw during the third and final rounds, Rory is still fighting his mental shortcomings. While everyone else was taking the course deep on Saturday, Rory was faltering, and his 6-shot lead was completely erased entering Masters Sunday. That continued during the final round when he started his round +2 through 6 holes, at one point falling to 3 shots behind leader Justin Rose, who I'll talk about further in just a bit. It looked like another epic Rory collapse was on the cards, which may have hurt less given that he won the tournament last year. However, it still would have hurt a lot, don't get me wrong. But then a switch flipped. While everyone else was missing putts on the back nine, Rory was making them. He was getting up and down. He was flagging iron shots, including one to the devilish front right pin location on Augusta National's famous 12th hole, where many others have had their championship dreams erased. Yes, he was lucky on multiple occasions, but he took full advantage of all the breaks he received, and that's what a champion does. The mental strength you need to not only win 2 straight Masters tournaments, but in the fashion that he did is astronomical, and he beat the odds and did what nobody thought was possible. The shots he hit on 15, 16, 17, and the playoff last year were shots career worthy of a Grand Slam title, and the putts he made down the stretch this year are worthy of a back-to-back Masters champion. Yes, there's a lot of anxiety, sometimes mental anguish surrounding Rory when he's contending for big tournaments. You're not always sure what's going to happen when he stands over the ball. But what we do know is that we have learned from his past 2 wins is that he can bounce back from anything. And he has the talent and power to hit shots that nobody else in the history of the game could. And this is a huge legacy win for Rory. Let's get that straight. It proves that last year was not a fluke. It cements himself as an all-time Masters great. And it also, in my opinion, puts him on top of Nick Faldo and Seve Ballesteros as the greatest European golfer of all time. Almost 50 career worldwide wins, 6 major championships, 2 FedEx Cups, and of course, a career Grand Slam is legendary status. And it's where his name belongs. Now, let's talk about some of the other players who battled Rory for the green jacket. And obviously, the first name I have to mention is 2-time Masters champion and former Longhorn Scottie Scheffler. I honestly do not have enough words or time to talk in this segment about Scottie Scheffler. He's just incredible. I mean, by his ultra-high standards, Scottie has had a poor season. He set the tone early with the win in his first event at the American Express, but since then has not looked close to the Scottie we've grown used to seeing in the last 4 years, struggling with his ball striking that really got him to where he is today. It felt like no one was picking him to win this week, in a place where he's rarely put down a wrong foot. but that was clearly a mistake. Never ever doubt Scottie Scheffler. 12 shots back after 2 rounds, he still has the confidence, the swagger, the aura, and most importantly, the ability to go out there and shoot 65 on Saturday, 68 on Sunday, ultimately losing the Masters by just a single stroke. It truly does not matter where he's on the leaderboard. He's never out of the tournament because he has an ability to limit mistakes and stay in the moment like no one else in the world has. He's calm, he's cool, and he's collected at all times, and it's why he's by far and away the best player in the world. I don't care how good Rory is, Scottie Scheffler is still the gold standard, and he proved it this week. And this is the tournament he needed to get back on track, and I truly expect him to win 1 or 2 majors the rest of the way this season. The last player I want to mention is Justin Rose, also known as Team Rose. I cannot lie, I wasn't a member or fan of Team Rose until a few years ago, but watching what he's been doing at the age of 45 has been simply inspiring. In the age of distance and strength, Rose plays a methodical style of golf, he plays inspired golf, and he plays passionate golf. He's everything you want out of a golfer who's consistently trying to take down the big guns, and it's why he's consistently been a contender at major championships over the past couple of years. Rose's history at Augusta National is immense, with his best finish being runner-up 3 times, including losing twice in a playoff. No one deserves to wear the green jacket more than this guy, and after a brilliant front 9 on Sunday, it was his to lose, but he did lose it. Aiming corner crushed another player's dreams as Rose bogeyed 11 and 12 and 3 putted for par on 13, emptying his entire gas tank. It's another Masters that could have been for Team Rose, and as he inches towards the scary age of 50, you've got to wonder if he's ever going to have as good a chance as he did this year. And frankly, that is heartbreaking. It's a gut punch to me and all the other loyal members of Team Rose, but I'm confident we'll be back. You know, as Vince Carter once said, I've got one more in me, and I hope Team Rose does as well. And as I close out this segment, I just want to highlight how the Masters delivered once again. I have my complaints about how the course was set up this week, and I could rant about that for another 5 minutes. I mean, look, it was a disgrace, really. I hope the setup team has a long, hard look in the mirror about this week's setup and what future setup should look like. But I'm going to leave it at that because at the end of the day, it was another weekend of incredible viewing at the Masters. You know, the Masters delivers the moments, the triumph, the heartbreak, the scenery, the chaos, the calm, the calamity, and most importantly, the emotions. It's everything you want in a sporting event and more. And it's why it's undoubtedly one of the greatest, if not the greatest sporting event in the world. Yes, I said it. So yes, Masters Week may be over, but the moments it creates never truly leave our minds. They are stories waiting to be told for a lifetime, and in 361 days, more stories will be told when the 2027 Masters kicks off. Thank you, and let's send it back to you at the desk, Brynlie.
Great analysis, Nolan. When we return to College Press Box, we'll take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports and see what's ahead. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to College Press Box. Let's take a look at this past week in Longhorn sports. Right-handed pitcher for Texas softball Tegan Cavan recorded her 500th career strikeout during the series opener versus the Oklahoma Sooners.
Number 2 Texas Rowing swept number 19 Michigan this past Saturday, winning all 5 races at Belleville Lake. The Longhorns remained undefeated on the season, with all 5 boats showing dominant performances. Texas controlled the regatta from start to finish, including an impressive win from the first Varsity 8 in open water. With this statement victory, the Longhorns solidified their spot as one of the top programs in the country.
Texas Track and Field closes 44 Farms Invitational with win and multiple personal bests recorded.
Now, let's take a look at this week in Longhorn sports. Tonight, Texas baseball plays Texas A&M Corpus Christi at 6:30 p.m. as they look to get back on track after their series loss to Texas A&M. You can watch the game on SEC Network Plus. This weekend, they play a home series starting on Friday against Alabama. All 3 games will be on SEC Network Plus. Texas softball is on the road to Athens this weekend where they face Georgia. Game 1 is Saturday on SEC Network, Game 2 is on ESPN, and Game 3 is back on SEC Network. They'll finish the series on Monday.
And that concludes this week's edition of College Spots. Please make sure to support Student Voices by donating at the QR link. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, please make sure to tune into our other sports shows this week, including College Crossfire Wednesdays airing at 9 p.m. and the Want to Know Sports Show on Fridays at 11 a.m. Also, we invite you to follow our coverage on Instagram, X, TikTok, and YouTube at the handle TSTV Sports. Thank you to our executive producer, Kendall Unger, and all of our reporters in TSTV Sports. I'm Brynlie Dean, she's Allie Hawk, and thank you for watching tonight. Have a good night.